Okay, welcome everybody to the first day of school, the Principal's Cafe. I'm Sean Higgins, for those of you that don't know me. I think all of you do though. This is my second year here, and the Principal's Cafe is something I do once a month. The first day of school, usually it's the last day of the month, so the next one will be at the end of September. And so let's just jump in and get going. So this is kind of the agenda for this morning. I'll do a little welcome. I'll talk about communication, our updated family handbook, district priorities. The PTO will speak, I'm assuming. I thought I saw June right here. Somebody, Deb, June, somebody's speaking, I'm assuming? Yes, somebody will. Maybe not, I don't know. We'll get to that, I'm sure they will. And then there'll be a Q&A, any questions? Okay, so you may have seen this. I sent this out at our the last weekly newsletter last Friday. So I was telling the staff yesterday at our staff meeting, I've been singing my whole adult life. I really love it. It's just a fun way to interact with people. And I started singing to my students when I was a teacher 26 years ago. I would take songs and I would just change the lyrics and sing about multiplication or whatever the topic was in class that we were talking about. Then when I became an administrator 13 years ago, I started doing school-wide type things. The song last year, The Room Where It Happens, I've been kind of thinking about that for years, and it's very wordy if you have heard that song. It's from Hamilton, which is a very wordy musical. And so I'm like, how am I going to do this? This is so complicated. So I was on a flight a year ago last summer to New York, and I'm like, I'm just going to spend the flight writing this song. That's what I did. And then this song, I thought over the course of the last year, I'm like, what am I going to do this year for a welcome song? And I thought of the song 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. And I'm like, oh, that would be cool if we could do working 9 to 5, except working 8:25 to 2 or 2:30 or 3, depending on your grade level, doesn't have the ring to it. So I thought, okay, last year was about the room where it happened, the classroom where it happened. So maybe we'll just incorporate room into the title. So working in our room is kind of what I came up with. And then several of your kids were in the Park and Rec camp over the summer. So I included them in this song this year. So this is in the room, in our room, excuse me. Hold on. It worked literally 30 minutes ago. Okay. We're gonna skip this. Okay, just watch it on the newsletter, last week's newsletter. Also come to our first in school spirit assembly next Wednesday. That's when families are invited and all the students will be here with the staff. I'm gonna play it then for the kids. So come then too. Sorry about that. Anyway. Oh, why did I just do that? I didn't mean to stop sharing. Let's continue to share. Okay. Okay, so communication. We have a new communication system called Parent Square. Raise your hand if you have signed up for it. I sent an email out. Yes, okay, maybe half of you or so. Okay, this is still very new to us. So I'm still learning it, but basically I could send messages, which is like sending an email, which is what I've done with the last two principals newsletters, or the weekly newsletters, excuse me. I could do posts, which is what Ida Gamba at our district office sent you yesterday about the first day packets and about the lunch and breakfast program. How many people received that email from Ida Gamba? Okay, let me ask you this, because I'm still learning it. How many people have not signed up for Parent Square, but you did receive that email from Ida Gamba? Okay, maybe one or two. Okay, good. Okay, I'm still not sure if that happens, but maybe it did. Okay, so I'm still learning about it. Sign up because your teachers will be emailing you. It's a lot easier for teachers to email like their entire class of parents. Instead of having to like, find your every individual parent email and copy them into a Gmail or make a group. It's just, this is way easier. So please sign up for that. And if you don't know how to sign up for it, it'll be in the weekly newsletters for the next several weeks. Okay, so another way we communicate is the weekly newsletters. I send that out every Thursday. The last 2 weeks it was Friday, but starting today, it'll be every Thursday. And of course, classroom emails, teachers will email you as well. So I'm just going to show you, kind of walk through like the weekly email. This is this week's email that's going to go out today. It's not complete, so don't think, oh, I don't have to read it because I've already seen it this morning. No, I'm going to add to it and adjust. So this is a little different. Last year I did an upcoming month. I'm only doing an upcoming week this year. So this is what's happening for the next week. There's also this really great one-page year calendar that we came up with. It's just I'll just click on it. It's very nice. You're going to get a hard copy, a black and white hard copy today in the Thursday folder. This is all of the things that you might need to know for the year. Not everything, but a lot. Okay, then there's also the BES Google Calendar. So this is what's happening for the upcoming week. What's happening in the end of the month or in 2 months from now? Click on the Google Calendar. Pretty much the entire year is planned. So you could look through, when are they graduating in June, the 5th graders? It's there. Okay, this is about Parent Square. So if you don't know how to log in, log in. The school clubs, there's clubs coming up. You'll get that in the Thursday folder today. The first day packets that just went out in yesterday's email, if you did not get that email, the link is right there at the top. This Sunday, our board is hosting a meet and greet for all staff and all families at the park down at the bottom of the street. From 2 to 4 p.m., there's pizza served. You can talk to me and board members and staff members who are there. Just mingle with your fellow families. One really great thing that they're doing this year is they're doing the fingerprinting at the park during the meet and greet. So if you want to volunteer, you have to be fingerprinted. So, and usually you have to pay, whatever it costs, $10, $15, $20, and then get reimbursed by us in order to get fingerprinted. There, you just do it. We cover the cost right there and you're done. So at least come for that. It's super easy. I already talked about this in school, the school spirit assembly. Usually it's the first Wednesday of every month that we invite the families to come. But because it's the first Wednesday, we're doing it next week, which is the last. And then our next one won't be till the 1st of October. And then back to school night, it's coming up in 2 weeks. So mark your calendars, and there is, this is not updated yet. There is gonna be a link to sign up for childcare at Park and Rec, those 2 portables out there, because back to school night is an adult only event, but they have plenty of room. Okay, the t-shirt sizes, this is please fill this out because the PTO is getting Spirit t-shirts, Spirit wear for your kids, and they need to know their sizes. Oh, what did I just do? I did not need to do that. What did I've never done that before. Okay. Okay, and then there's always this community news. Right now, it's like Park and Rec stuff and Brisbane Dance Workshop. So that's kind of not really associated with BES directly, but within the community. And then this next part, BES Online. The very top part is the family handbook, which has been updated. I'm going to go over that in just a minute. But you could click on any of these other things to find out, oh, where's that? And it's right there. And then at the bottom, there's ways to contact me, contact our absence line, and so forth. Okay, back to this. Okay, so Other ways that we communicate, every Thursday, starting today, you'll get a Thursday folder. It's a manila envelope with papers in there. Sometimes it's like official school-related stuff. Sometimes it's just like classroom stuff that the teacher's doing, like their newsletter, or maybe some, graded assignments that your kids have finished. So check that every Thursday. I already mentioned the Principal's Cafe once a month. The family calendars, I kind of went over back to school night. Conferences, we have twice a year, November and March, so they'll reach out to you to schedule that. Open houses in May. And of course, like call, text, email, in-person communication with me or teachers, or Eva, our secretary, whatever works for you. Okay. The first day packets, which I've mentioned, please complete it. It is required. We need that information, especially people whose students have medical needs. Maybe we hold medicine up here for them that they need to take regularly. So that's part of this first day packet, or any allergies, things like that. Media consent is very important. So, are we allowed to take a picture of them or not? And then the free and reduced lunch thing. Even though you think, oh, I might not be qualified for free and reduced lunch, filling it out allows us to maximize as much money as possible and provide things like the art club and the Lego club free, or even cover the cost of Park and Rec for some people. So please fill that out. And that's through the Schoolwise. I'll email it out again in the newsletter today. Okay, the family handbook. So this is revised. I'm going to click on this and open it up. This is always linked at the bottom of the weekly newsletter. So you're like, oh, what did he say? I forget. Months from now, just click on it in the weekly email for me. So the table of contents, everything that's in red has been updated. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through and talk about a couple of highlights. Although there might be other information in here that you find important, but I'm not going to talk about right now. Office hours. So this has always been posted on our front door saying that the office is closed from 12:15 to 12:45, because that's when Eva, our secretary, comes down and helps for lunch. And what I have done, and I think Tracy, the principal before me, we always kind of like watched the office during that time. So even though we said it's closed, it really never was. And so I know some families have they bring in lunch right before lunch begins for their student. This year, it will be closed. So I don't plan to be standing up there manning the office. I plan to be out here kind of figuring out, how things are going at the beginning of lunch. So if you plan to bring lunch in, for emergencies, like, oh, I've got a doctor's appointment, things like that, you need to call us, let us know. I can make arrangements to be up there. But generally speaking, it's going to be closed. So just know that. The bell schedule, the gate opens at 7:45 for supervised supervision. School starts at 8:25, just so you know, and everything else you probably know. You can read it. I'm not going to read everything. The drop-off and pickup procedures. Please, when you're driving down San Bruno, getting in that line, please do not get out of your car to help your student out. There's staff members, often I'm out there. We will let the kids out, and then it just makes it a lot faster because sometimes it gets really backed up. And if you can pull all the way, kind of beyond where we're standing in that, right by the gate, just pull up a little bit farther. And they can get out on their own. If you want us to let them out, just stop right in front of that gate area. And then please no jaywalking during drop off or pickup. A lot of families drop kids off on the other side of the street, which is fine. But then the kids just cross, or the kids and the parents cross. Don't do that. Go to the crosswalks, either up there or down there, and then cross. We just want to keep kids safe. There's a lot of cars that drive pretty fast on this street, and we don't want kids to get injured. And we just don't want to teach kids bad habits, even if there's no cars coming. We don't want to teach kids bad habits. If you know, oh, what's my teacher's email? It's all right there. Attendance. So attendance is very important. This graphic shows students who were chronically absent a lot. They basically are not learning as much as those kids the kid way at the top. They're hardly ever absent and they're learning a lot. So being in school, in the classroom is really important. So please make sure if they're sick, obviously keep them home. But otherwise, please bring them to school. And then you can send an email, which is linked in here and also linked in my weekly newsletter. Just email if they're sick or if they're absent. Our independent study, I put that in last week's newsletter. We have a new policy. So independent studies, I think, started in California in like the 1970s, and it started because of families who had kids who worked, like child actors, or kids who were in sports, and they like had to go on competitions. And so that's really kind of how it started. And then it kind of morphed into, over the several decades, it kind of morphed into, oh, I'm gonna take, I'm gonna extend my vacation over spring break and, come back like a week later. And that's for all of my career, that's what I've known. I've never had child actors. That's not true, I have. But I've had a couple. But for the most part, that's kind of what it's been. And then for whatever reason last year, I don't know why, we about doubled the number of independent studies in the district. And the vast majority of them were on vacations, and the vast majority of them were not really associated to like, oh, I'm gonna just take an extra week on spring break. So we made a new policy this year that we're not approving vacations. We're approving things like that we believe, are extreme examples, or maybe not extreme is not the right word, but examples of like what we find appropriate. So like if you have a family member who died, who's out of state, certainly that's a legitimate reason to go on independent study for several days to manage that. So so this kind of I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can read the whole thing if you want. If you are planning to go on independent study, please continue to email me, Eva, and the teacher, and then I will respond saying yes or no based on our new policy. Next, tardies. So please do your best to not allow your kids to be tardy. So we've had a longstanding policy. The bell rings at 8:25, and then like 5 minutes later, Renee, our custodian, goes out and takes all the cones out while the gate stays open. And then the gate is closed, at 8:35 when he's done bringing the cones in, or so. And then, kids kind of come in late, and some at the beginning of the year, some kids just went straight to their classrooms and teachers just kind of allowed it. Some teachers didn't allow it and kids came up to the office to get a tardy slip. And then like halfway through the year, we're like, okay, we need to have one policy. So I told the kids, if your teacher is off of the yard, then you need to go upstairs and get a tardy slip. And some teachers, they're doing like, morning activities out there for a good 5 minutes. So some kids were late and it was accepted, and other kids, like they left at exactly 8:25 and they came in at 8:26 and they got a tardy slip. So this year, Renee is bringing in cones at 8:25 and closing the gate a couple of minutes later. So please do your best to be inside that gate at 8:25. If you're late, you will need to go to the front office, but please do your best to not have your kids be late. Because even just like, 5 minutes late, you're like, oh, what's the big deal on 5 minutes? Well, by the time the kid comes in, everybody's unpacked, the teacher's starting to teach or go over the morning routine, and then that kid is like, oh, well, I've got to unpack and do all that. And now the teacher has like already moved on to like whatever, and the kid's like, oh wait, what did I just miss in these first 5 minutes? Especially, kids like routine and they like to know what to do, and like now they don't know what to do and there's kind of chaos, and it's not just 5 minutes, it turns into like 10, 15 in order for them to catch up. You multiply that by multiple times a year, and it could really impact student learning. Okay, I'm going to skip all this stuff. Volunteering. So as I said, fingerprinting at the park. There's also a volunteer procedures form, which is linked in here. I will put this in the weekly newsletter. TB testing, if you're going to go on field trips, where you're going to be watching kids. Actually, TB test is for both. Any kind of volunteering, TB test. So you got to do that on your own. We're not going to provide that. Okay, and if you've already done TB and fingerprinting, you're good. But I think the Megan's Law, you have to do it every year. Am I correct on that, somebody? PTO people? I'll make sure, read it in the email or the weekly newsletter. I'll clarify that. I'm going to talk about project-based learning, social-emotional learning at a future principal's coffee. I'm going to talk about student intervention and supports at a future principal's coffee. Our personal technology policy. So the state made a law by the end of this school year, all school districts have to have a cell phone policy or a smartwatch policy, some kind of personal device policy for all of the students. So our district is working on that this year. As of now, it's not really changing, and I don't expect it to change much, and it's really not a huge deal at BES, but it is a minor deal, so I did make a little bit of an update. I'm just making it very clear. For students who have smartwatches or cell phones, they need to be in their backpacks during the school day. We allow them for now, we allow them before 8:25, so if they come on, 8 o'clock, they could be on their cell phone, that's fine. When students are dismissed from school, as they're walking out, I see, especially the older kids, they're on their cell phones or their smartwatches, talking to their parents, figuring out how to get picked up. That's fine. We allow that for now. So, but during the school day, it's not allowed unless maybe the teacher is doing some lesson where you're like, oh yeah, you can get your cell phone out to do some research. But we have Chromebooks, so that probably is not going to happen, but it could. So I'm just being very clear, that's the policy. Breakfast and lunch. So you might have read the email yesterday from Ida. So our lunch program is, we partner with Bayshore School District. It's actually starting Monday. So it'll be the same, everything's free, breakfast and lunch. Kids can come and get breakfast if they want, and then save it for recess. A lot of kids do that because everybody has snacks at recess, or they can eat it before school, whatever they want. If they want to bring their own lunch, that's fine too. Or if you want to eat breakfast at home, that's fine. Today and tomorrow, Bayshore kind of didn't order enough food. So we've ordered pizza for today and hot dogs for tomorrow, but that's it. There's no fruit, there's no vegetables, there's no milk, there's pizza, their water bottle or a water fountain, and tomorrow's a hot dog and so forth. But starting next week, and we had breakfast this morning, yogurt and granola bars. We'll have the same thing for tomorrow. Starting next week, it's in the calendar. Oh, I haven't put that in the weekly newsletter. I'll put the lunch and breakfast calendar in the newsletter, so you'll always know oh, what are they going to have today or next week or whatever. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about in here is the classroom treats and parties. We have lots of allergies, and also teachers usually plan at least a week ahead of time. So if your kid has a birthday, or if there's some event like Valentine's Day and you want to provide candy or cupcakes or whatever, please contact your teacher at least a week ahead of time. Don't just bring cupcakes the day of your kid's birthday and say, here, teacher, I want to have a party for my kid. The teacher has already planned the full day, and now you've taken 10, 15 minutes out of their day. And so don't do that. Contact them before and plan it with them. And then also just be aware, no nuts ever. Just never, no nuts, because there's allergies and you just don't know. Okay. Moving on. I talked about the first day packets already. Did I? Yeah. Okay, District priorities. So this year, we're gonna be working on three things, and I'll talk more about this at future principals' coffees. Project-based learning, this is our third year as a project-based learning district. Social emotional learning, the last one, we've been doing that for many, many years. And we're continuing with that. And then the multilingual learners, we kind of really dug deeper last year. And then just on Tuesday, we had a district-wide training to dig more into that. And again, I'll talk more about that last year, but just sharing with you, those are our three priorities this year. And then our PTO. Do you want to talk? Deb or June? Sorry. I was thinking, oh, did I text you? I should have texted you, but I was busy. I've been busy the last couple days, so they're gonna wing it. Be nice.
So hi, I'm Deb. I am the BES site president for Best PTO.
I'm June. I am the district PTO secretary, and I am assistant to Deb.
So we want to welcome everybody this year. We have a lot of stuff planned for PTO, and you know, we really could use volunteers. And so get your paperwork done and get the fingerprinting done if you want to come volunteer as part of the PTO. That's pretty important for us. We'll have different events throughout the year. We have a big fundraiser coming up that's called Lapathon, and we'll give you guys a lot more details about it during back to school night. So if you come at 5:30, we'll give a little talk, introduce ourselves more, we're more prepared. And give you all the information then. The other thing to note is that the next PTO meeting is on December 5th at 8:30 here in the MPR. So we encourage you all to come and just learn about it, be a part of it.
That's the district PTO meeting.
Huh?
The district? You said
No,
December.
I'm sorry, September.
Okay,
5th.
thank you.
I'm sorry. Winging it, right? September 5th here in the NPR at 8:30. So we welcome everybody to come join us.
And we have everything from, I just want to hand out water cups for an hour to, I can plan a whole gala. We need your help. Please let us know if you can help us.
Thanks.
Thank you. And also, I would say, you know, Deb and June, and there's many others of you who are here in the room and not here in the room that are kind of like our regular PTO families. All of them are like, so our PTO meetings are really interesting and fun and productive, and everybody's got a good intention. So it's not like some boring meeting. So come and help your kids. It's all about just like focusing on kids, and that's what makes them fun. So I encourage you to come. So these principals coffees, like next month or in the end of September, I'm going to talk, my main topic will be student discipline and behaviors and consequences, things like that. And that actually came from parent input. So, and I have I have lots of ideas for every month of the year, but I'm also wanting your input. So if you want to scan this, or it's linked in the weekly newsletter every single week. If you ever think, oh, I wish you would talk about that topic, just scan this or click on the link in the newsletter and say, oh, talk about this. And I might talk about it. And then that's pretty much it. If there's any questions, if there's questions for like that would be beneficial to everybody hearing, please raise your hand. If there's questions that like, oh, just for me, between me and you, then I will hang out here for a while and answer your questions. Other than that, please take some more coffee and pastries as you leave through the yard. But there's some questions, so yes.
I think I did a pretty good job of giving handbook, but maybe not. Is there a dress code?
We do not specifically have a dress code. There's not really ever been a need for one. I would say, like, don't wear flip-flops because people do have PE, or just going out at recess. You know, kids are running around, so, but we don't necessarily have a dress code. You know, nothing inappropriate on a shirt, like inappropriate messages, but again, we've never really had that issue, so it's never really become a need for having a dress code, but good question. Other questions? Okay, thank you everybody for coming, and you can make your way out.